Good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the faculty and honored Rebbeim, I would like to welcome you this evening to the 2025 Emek Trustee Dinner. My name is Leon Rabbi, and tonight I have the honor of being your Master of Ceremonies for another year. This is the 64th Annual Trustee Dinner, and just like Social Security, I intend to retire early and call it quits this year before this Trustee Dinner hits 65. I also want to commend the staff on picking this beautiful new location for our Trustee Dinner. As a community Jewish school in the Valley, I can think of no better place to do this event than here in the city. This evening, I have the privilege of sharing with you the profound significance of the education provided by Emek Hebrew Academy, Teichman Family Torah Center. Emek stands as a beacon of Torah education, imparting values and knowledge that resonate far beyond the confines of its classrooms and buildings. At Emek, Torah study isn't just a subject. It's the very foundation upon which all learning is built. Guided by our dedicated faculty and Rebbeim, our children arrive at school every day and are imbued with the values of chesed, good midot, love of Torah, and love of Eretz Yisrael. More than just imparting knowledge, Emek shapes the future leaders of our community, instilling in them a profound sense of moral responsibility, a commitment to Torah, and the strength to be beacons of light in a world that so desperately needs it. My wife and I are proud to be a part of the Emek family for many decades. Since a very young age, I had the privilege of attending Emek ECC as well as Emek Grade School. We have been privileged to send all of our children to Emek, with our youngest two having just started ECC this year. The examples of how Emek has impacted our community are countless. Just a few weeks ago, my wife and I hosted a new Emek family for Shabbat, who had recently enrolled their daughter in Emek from public school. They recounted to us in tears how their daughter comes home on Shabbat and tells them stories about the Parsha, gives them Dvar Torahs, and explains to them the meaning of the Chagim. They told us that for the first time in their lives, they understood and truly felt what it means to have nachat from their child. Their only regret, in their words, was not enrolling their child earlier. The impact of Emek goes far beyond the boundaries of our school, affecting the lives of their students, parent body, and the Jewish community as a whole. And for that, we are profoundly grateful to Rabbi Shifman for his vision and dedication, which have truly transformed our school. Now, this is my second year of having the privilege of being vice president of the board at Emek. My job on the board is clear: to support the president of our board, our supreme and glorious leader, Guy Bachar Un II. Guy has been a pleasure to work with these past 2 years, but I do have to admit, since Trump took office a month ago, things have taken quite a dramatic turn with the board. Just last week, I observed Guy removing portraits of previous board presidents from the wall of the Emek boardroom, claiming they were low IQ, low energy individuals with horrible ratings. 3 weeks ago, Guy barged into Rabbi Shifman's office and demanded that we fire half the staff. On a more positive note, I am proud to report that Guy has brought in our wonderful board member and previous parent at the school, Daniel Aronoff, to work with Emek staff at excelling in all avenues necessary. Daniel will be leading a committee that will help teachers and rabbis to improve on their dedication, organization, Gemara skills, and emunah, or as Danny likes to call it, Doge. For those of you that were here last year and heard my speech, you may remember that I was a bit harsh on the carpool system at Emek and its complexities. Well, I wanted to take a moment at this podium and thank the administration for working hard this past year on coming up with some great solutions. As you can see here, the staff was able to install 287 cones in the parking lot, ranging from tall orange cones to small light blue cones and light yellow cones to construct easy-to-use lanes. When arriving at the school, parents are directed to their appropriate lanes to ensure a fast and efficient drop-off. Now, this was an idea that I thought that this was crazy for implementing, but I have to admit, Rabbi Solomon, it worked out great. On select days of the year, students in carpool will be treated to a s'mores making station, which I think really makes our school stand out from the competition. Thank you, Mrs. Andron, Rabbi Solomon, and Mr. Flicker for implementing such a great carpool system. You have shown us what it means when we say, what can be unburdened by what has been. I also wanted to take the time to thank my sister-in-law, Sandra Rabibo, for helping organize this amazing event tonight. And for the first year ever, Sandra has also recruited the help of Rabbi Tropper in designing the gift bags for this trustee dinner. Included in the gift bag this year, each attendee will receive vintage Emek merch, a pack of 1994 Upper Deck baseball cards, and a $5 Target gift card. At the end of the evening, we will also be having a raffle, which I think is a nice addition to the event. As many of you already know, Sandra is also the Director of Admissions at Emek. When introducing families to Emek, she will welcome you with open arms if you are the right fit for the school. And if you are not a right fit, you'll get a stare so intense it will make you reconsider all your life choices. I would like to finish off by saying, Emek is more than just a school. It's a place for growth for all that is part of it. Thank you to everyone here tonight in this room for playing a vital role in our shared journey of growth. Together, we have built a stronger, thriving future for our children. And now, I would like to introduce our fourth grade choir to sing a beautiful song for us. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and the Emek family. Tonight, we lean on each other as we hear the terrible news about the Bibas family in Israel. Our hearts are torn. I want everyone to know, from the SJP criminals on campus to the murdering monsters in Gaza, we are here. We will never bow. We will never forget. We will never give up. We haven't yet neutralized Hamas in Gaza, but I promise you, it will be done. Hamas will be eradicated. We are living in historic times. Major events are constantly unfolding in the Middle East. We have killed the most senior ranking terrorist leaders: Nasrallah, Sinwar, Haniya, Deif, we disseminated Hezbollah, attacked Iran military facilities, destroyed their air defense systems, shattered Syria's army, and hit the Houthis in Yemen. The United States and Israel is leading the way in creating the axis of moderation, aligning with moderate Arab states to prevail over the Iranian axis of evil. A major cornerstone in this alliance will be signing a peace treaty with Saudi Arabia. As our Jewish beliefs teaches us, Bakesh Shalom Veratfehu, seek peace and pursue it. The current ceasefire has brought home 19 hostages from Hamas captivity, and we are expecting 6 more this week. Every hostage endured an unimaginable nightmare. Stories are slowly emerging on how they managed to survive. I found Agamsberger's story particularly heroic and symbolic. In spite of horrific conditions, she prayed, observed Shabbat, and refused to eat non-kosher meat, even though she was never given very little food. She was given very little food. Agam maintained an unwavering faith and a steadfast commitment to Jewish tradition. Her first message to the world was, "Ani bacharti bederech haemunah, ubederech haemunah chazarti." I chose the path of faith, and in the path of faith, I returned. Her story is an inspiration to us all. We've all heard heroic stories of people risking their life on the battlefield to save others. However, here in America, Jews have a different battlefront. Your challenge is to save Jewish identity, to fight the devastating statistics of assimilation. Let me share with you the statistics. Second and third generation of Israelis who are not religious, 90% of them are going to assimilate. 70% of Jewish Americans who grow up not in a religious home are going to assimilate. That's the statistics. We are not succeeding. We are failing. Thank God we have Emek who succeed in this endeavor. Since I came here to my post, I decided to create the 11th commandment as a saying. There is no Jewish nation without Jewish education, period. And that is the work of everyone in this room. Every individual has power to change a Jewish life. I can share with you personally, I became a Baal Tshuva at age 30, 2 years ago. Joking, 23 years ago. And thanks to wonderful people in New York, when I was studying in New York, my master's degree, people who helped me to become a Baal Tshuva. It was a journey. But it was simple people. Very simple people from the courts of life. I owe them a lot, and they are still my best friend. And there is one particular family in New York. She is really my second mom until today. She's 72 years old. We are in touch, and we see each other. So everyone has a role. We just have to look at the Teichman family to see what one person and one family can accomplish. I want to recognize Ruthie and the entire Teichman family. I deeply regret I never having had the chance to meet Saul, Zichrono Livracha. However, his legacy shows us the spirit of the Jewish people will never be extinguished. Saul's answer to what he suffered in the Holocaust was Emek. Saul's answer to the brutality and the attempt to arrest the Jewish people was Torah. And Saul's answer to assimilation and to anti-Semitism was to inspire through education. Tonight is about changing lives, building the Zionist leaders, and the Jewish thinkers of tomorrow. Leadership takes courage, commitment, and independent thinking. Zionism is integral to the continuation of Jewish life, but it must be strengthened through the connection to God and to Torah. Not only here, also in Israel. So as we will win in our battle against the enemies that surround us, we have to win in the battle for the Jewish souls here in America. May Emek continue to double its numbers and grow from strength to strength, as it's saying, our ancestors saying, and it's in the Torah. ופרצת ימה וקדמה צפונה ונגבה עם ישראל חי. Thank you, Ruthie.
Good evening. Bershus, esteemed rabbis, Rabbi Yoshua Biton, Morada Atra of Congregation Emek Banim, Rabbi Ari Herzig, Rav of Chabad of Encino, Rabbi Avram Wakshal, Director of Yad Menachem, and Rabbi Avram Stuhlberger, Dean of Valley Torah, our partners in educating Jewish children of Los Angeles. Bershut, our Consul General, Mr. Israel Bachar. Bershut, our trustees, our lay leaders, our educational leaders, all of you that comprise of Emek Hebrew Academy, Teichman Family Torah Centers, past, present, and most importantly, our future. We'd like everyone to please stand up so we could say Tehillim for our Israeli soldiers and the hostages. Shir Malot, Esayanai El Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. Al Yiten Lamot Raglecha, Al Yanum Shomrecha. Hinei Lo Yanum V'Lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael. Adonai Shomrecha, Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Minecha. Yomam HaShemesh Lo Yakeka V'Yarech Balayla. Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra, Yishmor Es Nafshecha. Adonai Yishmor Tzeitzcha V'Echa Me'ata Ve'ad Olam. Please be seated. I'd like to begin by thanking Mrs. Sandra Rabibo and our trustee committee for the painstaking efforts that they have invested in every detail of tonight's incredible event. Sandra, you have the Midas touch. Thank you. Emek's past has been blessed with both vision and passion. It was the vision of Rabbi Gilbert Shoham over 60 years ago, who understood that a community cannot grow with a shul alone. You need to have a yeshiva where the boys and girls have a place to go and study Torah so that they could develop their character and strengthen their commitment to Yiddishkeit. I am happy to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Steve Shoham, son of Rabbi Gil Shoham, and his wife Susie are with us tonight. It took the passion of Rabbi Yochanan Stepan to take Emek to the next level, masterminding and implementing the building of our current Magnolia campus. It is my honor to acknowledge the presence of our school matriarch and her family, Mrs. Ruth Teichman. For over 60 years, Mrs. Teichman and her late husband, Saul Alav Shalom, have been and continue to be the backbone of our school and community. Thank you. I would also like to welcome the fourth generation Teichman, Judah, who is with us today. As our community continues to grow, our school continues to adapt to the needs of our community. However, the most important element that is the cornerstone and fundamental value of Emek Hebrew Academy Teichman Family Torah Center, that is immutable and unchanging, is our commitment to be inclusive, reaching out to Jews of all backgrounds, spreading the message of Avas Yisrael. Sensitivity and tolerance for diversity under the penumbra of halakha. I want to stress that, under the penumbra of halakha. Accepting families no matter what their personal observance levels are, and guiding them through educating their children on a path of growth and spiritual fulfillment. Avas Yisrael is not loving people who look and think like you do. Avas Yisrael is loving another Jew because he or she are Jewish. Emek's mission is to produce children that are engaged and passionate about their Yiddishkeit, focusing on what we are doing right and not what others are doing wrong. What is that connects us and not what divides us? Today, I look back at 15 dinner speeches. Believe it or not, this is my 15th dinner speech. This is the prevailing message that I've imparted every single year, because I believe this was the message of our forefathers. However, tonight, I would like to add an important nuance. In addition to the message of inclusion and Avas Yisrael, I believe there is an additional element that sets Emek above and beyond many other Jewish institutions. And what makes me feel honored that I have a relationship with many of you sitting here tonight. The Reshiva of Ner Yisrael in Baltimore, Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg, Zichrono Tzaddik Livracha, once explained, I was in yeshiva in Baltimore for 3 years, and I heard him explain a passage. We were learning Masechet Baba Batra, it was Daf Chaf Bet, and he said over a beautiful, very poignant explanation of the passage. The Talmud is lauding the accomplishments of a great rabbi whose name was Rabbi Yeshua ben Gamla. Now, this Rabbi Yeshua ben Gamla actually was the founder of the Jewish Day School. This goes back 2,000 years before the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash. And the Talmud tells us that Rabbi Yeshua ben Gamla looked around in his community, and the majority of children were being educated the way the Torah says. Each father was teaching their own child. And if they couldn't, they would hire someone, get a melamed, get a tutor to teach their child. But there were orphans. There were people without fathers. What were they to do? How were they supposed to learn Torah? How did they get educated? So he started with 5 students. He took 5 students, 5 orphans, and he started creating the day school. Created how many kids are allowed to be in each class and how they get taught. And then he took this model from his community and it spread through all of the communities throughout, both in Eretz Yisrael and outside of Eretz Yisrael. And that became the day school movement. So Rabbi Weinberg asked an interesting question. He said that how many orphans were there? 10% of the parents? Maybe 15%? He says, and it's incredible that this system that he created for 10, 15% of these families, which was b'diavad, that was a post facto situation because the best situation should have been father teaching child, became accepted as the norm. Why would that be the norm? Shouldn't the norm still be father, child, hire individually, teacher, child? Why did it become the norm that the way we teach is the system that he instilled for the orphans? And Rabbi Weinberg said as follows. He said, if you have a community that not everyone has the ability to be educated, you don't have a right to call yourself a community. In order to be a community, you have to set up a system that everybody is able to be educated, even those who don't have fathers, even those who can't afford for the melamed. Everybody, and that becomes the lechatchila that everybody now does. And I think the message that I took from that, and I think this is the message of our founders, starting from Rabbi Shoham, Rabbi Stepan, Mr. Solteichman, is that communities are growing, and you have schools that are developing, Baruch Hashem, many, many schools. However, in most cases, the schools are being developed, parents come together, and they create a school. What will be good for my child? What is going to take care of my child? The message of Emek has always been is, what can we do for somebody else's child? That's what I think makes us unique. Because the focus is not just for our children. The focus is for everybody's children, for other children as well. I believe that is what elevates us. And there are many people, many of the donors, many of the lay leadership that feel that as well. They might not even have children in our school. But they understand because we've got to do for other people's children as well, not just for our children. George W. Bush might have promoted No Child Left Behind, but it was Rabbi Shua ben Gamla was the one who took the initiative and started the program. I'm honored and humbled to see so many of you who share this vision, the vision and the passion, with a tremendous amount of siyata d'shmaya from our great leadership team, who I'd like to acknowledge, our principal, Rabbi Levi Solomon, our general studies principal, Mrs. Michelle Andron, our early childhood director, Mrs. Bernice Zacharias, our vice principal, Ms. Rabbi Moshe Tropper, Mr. Flicker, our wellness director, our CFO, Mr. John Brooks, who together with our committed group of lay leadership have allowed us to become the role model of educational excellence, not only for the schools in Los Angeles, but throughout the country, with the focus of not only on our children, but creating a Torah learning environment for the children of others. There is a beautiful perush that is written, it's called the Be'er Yosef, by Rabbi Yosef Salant. It goes back about 150 years ago. And he says a very interesting thing. It says, we had a few weeks ago, Parashat B'Shalach, it says that Bnei Yisrael, the Jews left Egypt chamushim. Chamushim, Rashi says, means either they were armed or they were 1/5. 80% of the Jewish people died in the plague of darkness so that the Egyptians should not see them getting buried. They didn't want to leave. Unbelievable statistic. Only 20, they went chamushim, only 20% went out. And he brings down, what does it mean they were armed? So the Targum Yerushalmi, one of the Targumim, the translations of the Torah, says they were chamushim b'mitzvot. The question is, what does it mean they were armed with mitzvot? What mitzvot? They had only 2 mitzvot they were given. They had Brit Milah and they had Korban Pesach. What do you mean they were armed with mitzvot? So he says that the 2 Perushim fit together. He said the adults died. 80% of the adults died. What happened to all their children? So he said each family adopted the children of the 4 other families. And they went out, they were not only taking care of their own children, but they took the care of the 4 other families that lost their children. And in that zchut, they were able to cross the Kriyat Yam Suf because they didn't just take care of their own, they took care of other people's as well. It's in this spirit that I want to acknowledge 2 organizations that are with us tonight that share the same values and have dispersed hundreds of thousands of dollars, not only to Emek, but to schools all over Los Angeles, to ensure that Jewish children do not get trapped in the public school system and are afforded a Torah education. It is my honor and pleasure to call up Rabbi Yeshua Biton of Congregation Ema Banim and Rabbi Avram Wagshal, Director of Yad Menachem, to receive a token of our appreciation. One parting thought. As we celebrate Emek's success, and as we should, my first dinner we had around 500 students in the school, and now we're approaching 1,100, and we should celebrate that. But we cannot become complacent. I did the math, looking at the Pew study and looking at the study from the BJE. There are currently over 95% of school-age Jewish children that are still not getting a Torah Jewish education. 95%. I know how much all of you have done, but I implore all of you, it's time to dig deeper. We have to ensure that the Emek experience will be available to all Jewish children. Sol Teichman, alav hashalom, once told me, and I first started, he called me in, I went into the inner chamber in the house, surrounded by the Sifrei Torah, and he challenged me. He said, Rabbi, you fill up this building and we will help you build another one. Tonight I want to proclaim, Saul, I know you're here. It's time. I'm doing my part. It's time for you to do yours. We need another building. So in closing, I want to leave you with a blessing that both the Chasam Sofer in Pressbook, close to 200 years ago, and Lubavitcher Rebbe gave to their students when they would go out to communities to start their building of mekomot that were holy places, and had schools and had yeshivas. And he would say to them, Hashem promises us, you take care of his children, and he promises he'll take care of yours. Thank you. Everyone, please turn to the screens for a short video.